Well, here we are. This is the backyard food plot update. It's January 23rd today. And man, these deer have just been hammering this. Every night we've been shining them from the house. And there's like a group of 5 or 6 different bucks. There's like 4 really nice bucks. I'll have a bunch of trail camera pictures and video from the house at the end of the video. So make sure you check that out. Anyways, they've really been hitting this hard. We probably only have about, I'd say maybe 20% of the food left. Pretty much everything down there further away from the house is pretty much all gone. And the only food that's left is these beans right here behind me closer to the house, and some of this corn in here, and a few beans by the trees over there. So I'm going to take you to every little spot we got and show you what everything looks like here. So like I just said, these beans right up in here, these are pretty much the majority of the food that's left. There's a little bit of corn in here. I'll just show you this quick. You can see anything with the silk still on, like that, hasn't even been touched. These few outer rows here, like I has barely been touched, but they're starting to get in here. Like that's full, that's full. So probably half of this corn is still here. Once I get in here, yeah. Just look at all these tracks. There's a lot of these from the last couple days here. But there is quite a bit of this that's gone already. And once you get further over here by these trees, there's just even more tracks. These rows are just pounded with, look at that. This stuff over here is pretty much gone. Yeah. So it's just a few outer rows over there that's still left. And then, man, just look at these tracks. There was a bunch of really nice bucks. There was like 2 or 3 really nice bucks, like right here last night. I was videoing them from the house up there. And these beans are really starting to disappear quick. They finished off everything down there first. And all this corn is gone. All these beans down here are pretty much empty too. As you can tell, there's just hardly anything left. Pretty bare. And then, like I said, up there is the only area that still has beans. All in all, we probably have a total of, I think I added it up, it's like just barely an acre of stuff here in our backyard. So it's pretty amazing that it's able to last as long as it has, because I mean, the amount of deer that are down here is insane. Like, I've seen a group of 11 or 12 does, and I know for sure I got pictures of at least 6 or 7, possibly 8 or 9 different bucks that have been down here too. So that's like, about 20 or so deer that are feeding down here every night or every other night, you know. So pretty amazing. You can see a lot of these tracks down here are pretty older tracks. They're kind of melted off. It's because, like I said, this is pretty much empty. A couple weeks ago, this stuff was just pounded with tracks like that corn was up there. You could tell a lot of those tracks were fresher, because that's kind of the corn they're eating now. You can see this area just off the food plot here is one of the favorite areas for deer to bed at nighttime. You can see they got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 different deer beds. It's primarily just does that are bedding right here. Last year when we didn't have this corn here, you could shine them from the house and you'd see deer laying right here. You can see this is a bunch of deer here, right here on this rock. Well, not a minute, that's grass there. But yeah, right here's a little hair, but it's kind of hard to see. And down here, I'm sure there's some beans underneath the snow, but it's gonna be kind of hard for the deer to get to them. Like right here's a couple, but when we had that first heavy snowfall, like in middle of December, it crushed all the beans over, and a lot of them I think are still stuck underneath the ground. A lot of the stuff popped back up too, but there's definitely beans like right here that are like buried in this icy snow. So maybe the deer will get at these when it starts to thaw out, maybe a month from now, but we'll see what happens. And way over on this side of the plot, these beans up in this corner here, these have been gone since middle or late December. They've been gone for over a month because this is the primary direction the deer come from. They come up and over this hill and then further from that way. And like I said, the road is over there, more subdivisions over that way, a lot of subdivision and homes that way, but there's more woods and cover just beyond these hills here. That's where everything's bedding. And last night there was 6 does down here right at a few minutes before dark, and they have to be bedding, you know, just up and over on the other side of those homes. I'll throw up a few pictures of what the plot looked like. I think I took a few panoramic pictures here, kind of capturing most of the plot in December and stuff, and you'll see that these beans here on this edge were pretty much picked over then, and that's when this right here was getting hammered. This is all brassicas buried underneath this deep snow. So there's a lot of nighttime bedding over here in this cedar thicket. I'm sure they're bedding here in this grass a little bit. I know they did last year quite a bit. Yeah, right, I can see that's a matted down bed right there. Some possible bedding on this grass here. Yeah, you can see bed here. They really like to bed in these cedars at night. I mean, if I have any chance of finding a shed, it's probably going to be in one of these bedding areas, because, you know, they come over and they eat on the plot for, you know, I'll shine down there and I'll see them, and then I'll shine literally 20 minutes later and they're all gone. So they only come over, they eat for like maybe a half hour at most. And I'm thinking they're bedding back down, but they might be heading across the road. I'm not sure what they're doing because I can only really see the plot from the house, but I'm thinking they're bedding back down. They're getting up in the middle of the night, feeding once more, either bedding down again or just heading back to their daytime areas. But if I can get them to bed down for multiple hours and then get up and eat again and then head back, that'll just increase my chances of finding a shed, because then they're spending more hours of the night over here instead of just coming, eating, and leaving. That's not going to be that great, but lots of bedding in here. This snow is just really hard and crusty, so I imagine it's pretty hard for the deer to find a warm spot to lay in this crusty, hard snow. Here's a pretty heavy trail that they've been using. And I got a trail camera right over here, right on this trail. Got a vine scrape here. And here's the trail camera. And you can see right here, just look at all these tracks. Looks like a herd of cattle came through here. A lot of these are really fresh tracks on the powdery snow. This is one of the heavy trails that they come in on, right between these two little pines. Like I said, they're coming from up and over that hill. And I got permission. There's like a 5 or 6 acre field, and I got permission to shed hunt in there. I actually found a shed just up and over this hill to one of the bucks last year that I was seeing a lot. And like I said, I found a shed in our food plot right about where my finger is last year too. And then about a quarter mile down the road, I found another shed to a buck I had pictures of. So these bucks are coming from, well, it's probably a half mile down the road now that I think about it. Yeah, it's way more than a quarter. It's about a half to 3/4 of a mile. So these bucks are coming from pretty far away to get here. They were here. Here's another really heavy trail coming from that way. And then there's lots of trails going that way towards another daytime bedding area way over about a quarter mile that way. So there's deer coming from this way, quarter to a half a mile. There's deer coming from that way, a quarter mile to a half a mile. So we're sucking in deer. I'm sure we're getting a few across the road too, but it's mainly just does because that's a lot of subdivision. And a lot of the bucks are coming from this way and that way where there's actual, you know, bigger areas of cover. Over there is just homes and stuff. There's definitely a lot of deer over there, but it's mainly just does across the road. I'll take you over to the other side to show you those trails going that way. Let's freaking go! I just found a shed. I'm out here doing my food plot update video, and right here's a little hinge cut area. I never really expected anything to bed here during daytime, because like I've said so many times, we only have about 4 to 5 acres and about 3 acres of cover. All the primary bedding's way farther away, but this is just all nighttime bedding close to the food. Oh my god, this is the last thing I expected. That could have fell last night. There was a ton of bucks over here last night. I shined down there, and then there was probably over a dozen deer, does, bucks, everything. There was some really nice ones, but this is just a smaller one. I'll show you what it looks like here. This is awesome. So right here are my hinge cuts and stuff. I did this 2 years ago. Look at it, how much growth I'm getting. I'm gonna have to hinge those down again, otherwise it's gonna shade everything out. Anyways, just pounded with tracks through here. The food plot's right out there. All in all, we probably have about an acre total of food, but it's really getting thin. We're really running out fast here. Right there, boom. Let's go pick it up. You know, like I was just walking around just over here saying, if I have any spot of finding a shed, it's gonna be in a nighttime deer bed, because they only feed for a half hour. Like I shine them from the house like multiple times a night. They're down there, then they're gone. Like they only are feeding for 20 minutes and then they're gone. So they're probably bedding when I can't see them. But let's go pick it up. That is awesome. See these really big deer beds right here? Wow. That's not even a, well, that's probably his bed right there. Like I said, this is some pretty hard, crusty snow. They're not really gonna melt it. Awesome. I'm gonna get some pictures, or I'll just get some. Wow. Honestly, I don't really recall. I'm sure I have pictures of them, but I was really paying more attention to the bigger bucks. Wow, that's an awesome base on there. That's really, really flat. Bloody. Wow. Tight curled kind of to them. I can guarantee you I have pictures of them. I just can't really recall which buck this is. I know there's a lot of them, but wow, that is insane. Cool fat, like triangular brow tine. Holy smokes. Oh, that is awesome. I've waited all year long to pick up another shed in our backyard. I mean, our house is probably 150 yards from here. You can see this insanely heavy deer trail. Look at that, how it wiggles right out to the food plot right out there. I got a trail camera right here, Tasco. Anyways, this is one of the heaviest trails that they come in on. I did a little bit of hinge cutting down here this spring, kind of just to thicken it up because it's pretty open. And they never used to bed right in this little thicket here. Well, it's thick now that I dropped these trees, but last year and the year before when we had food, there was never any deer beds right here. But now that I got this little bit of side cover here, they started to bed down here a little bit. The primary bedding is up there kind of where I found that shed, but a little bit of bedding in here, and I can just tell all these tracks are like fresh because they're right on top of the powdery snow we got like 2 days ago. Look at this trail. It's kind of hard to see with all the shadows from the sun and stuff, but look at that. That's just like a straight beam just packed down. You can see on the neighbor's hill here, there's another heavy trail right there. Another one crossing up there. So that's pretty cool. You can see right here, this spring, I cut out all these lower limbs on this cedar. Because as you can tell, like that cedar over there, a deer is obviously not gonna, you know, wedge itself underneath there, or like that one too. But this one that I cut all the limbs out, look at all these beds, boom, boom, boom. Another one over there. So it really helps to limb out. I mean, you don't have to do that to every cedar, but just a few of them so they can get right close underneath it, because there's usually less snow underneath these cedars because it gets stuck on the branches and melts off. This is soybeans here too, but this stuff has been gone since like this early December. Like I said, we're really running short on food. Only beans left are like from here up and a little bit of that corn, and I'll take in the other side of that corn now. There's a little bit of beans over there. Here we are on the other side of the corn now. You can see they're really starting to just decimate this stuff. There's tracks everywhere. Like I said, a month ago they were down in that corn really hard. They ate up that stuff first because it was further from the house. This is really close, as you can tell. But now this is the only stuff that's left, so they're up here. I got a scrape here. They must be bedding underneath it a little bit. That's kind of weird. And yeah, these beans have just been picked clean the last week. I mean, a week ago there was a lot more beans right here in between the tree rows. They got a trail sneaking through right there. But yeah, this is just, I'm probably only going to plant this the next year, maybe 2 years, because eventually these trees are going to get too big. But yeah, just adds a little extra food. I mean, this stuff's getting pretty picked over too. And right here's another really popular bedding area for the bucks. I cleaned out, you can see I limbed off these cedars so they can walk through here. And just 2 nights ago there was a bunch of bucks over here. I was looking at them through those windows and I saw them walking in and out of this area here. You can see that's a fresh rub because there's the shavings are on top of the snow here. And yeah, quite a few beds in here too. Yeah, some pretty big beds. Boom, boom. Wow, that's a big rub. Holy smokes. That's fresh too, because look at all this shavings from the bark right on top of the snow. Look at that. Something big tried to rub that all the way up to here. Pretty high up. Tracks coming in from across the road right here. Look at this trail crossing the road. It's a lot of deer. I know there's a really heavy trail down there. Those are the suburb deer that live over there. I'll be looking in that field for sheds too eventually, but like I said, a lot of the bucks haven't even dropped. So this right here is the trail camera by the mock scrape. This is like in the primary nighttime bedding I was talking about. This trail camera is probably only 15 yards from where I found that shed. And you'll see I got a picture or two of the buck that I found a shed to here just in a little bit. You can see they're bedding around and stuff. And this buck right here on the right, that is the buck I found the shed to, the buck's left side. So that's pretty cool. That's kind of a new buck that just showed up here probably no more than a week ago. And then this right here is one of the other trail camera locations. This is in that other hinge cut area I was talking about that they used to never really bed in, and now they're starting to bed down a little bit in that area now that I got some side cover and extra browse for them. And this right here, that's the buck I found a shed to on the 17th, so like 3 days ago or so. This is like one of the heavy trails. They come in and out from their daytime bedding to the food plot. This is pretty much one of the heaviest trails. And these right here are the only few daytime pictures we've gotten so far. Last year in February, a bunch of doe started showing up during daytime, but we're getting close to that time now, and I'm starting to see definitely more does during daytime. But back in early January and late December, there was pretty much no deer here during daylight. They'd just show up a half hour or an hour after dark, because like I said, we're about a quarter to a half a mile from their actual, daylight bedding areas. So it takes them a little bit to get here sometimes. And that's just a flood of does right there. So yeah, we'll see if hopefully I can find another shed. That'd be really cool. But like I said, I found one last year, and I'm just lucky to find another one this year, in my opinion. I mean, the bucks really haven't started dropping, and we're getting short on food, and they're just starting to drop. So that's not what you really want. You really want to have food until about late February. You want to start running out, not late January. Like we're pretty much running out now. But yeah, it's so cool to see all these deer in our backyard. I would never guess that there would be this many different bucks coming to and from the food plots. So this trail camera is on the far side of the food plot. This is the camera that usually gets the best pictures because, like I said, the bucks don't really like to. They like to hang out further away from our house. But now they're starting to have to move up closer if they want to get something to eat. And this right here, this is the biggest buck I got pictures of. Just a super wide 8. I think I might have a few pictures of him last year. A lot of these bucks I recognize from previous years, but this one I really don't. I have a suspicion that he is only a 2-year-old because there's a buck that was kind of wider and kind of shorter tines like that last year. But he could be a 3-year-old, just a small 2-year-old last year. This buck right here, we call him 2x4, the one on the left. He's only got 2 points on one side and 4 on the other side. He's a 3-year-old. And then this buck, this is a new buck that I don't really recognize, and here's a half rack one. So this buck right here, this is that new buck I was just showing you a picture of, kind of with the swooping main beams. And this is the only night I've actually seen him with my own eyes. And the night that we got a picture of him was a few nights after this night that I was recording him. So it's just weird, you know. Some bucks come over, and we had a big brow, and we had a split brow 10 that was coming over quite a bit too in December, but the last couple weeks here, he really hasn't been sticking around. So it's weird how some bucks, they kind of are over in our food plot at certain times of the year, and then they disappear, where other ones just show up in late season, and then they seem to stick around. This right here is the soybeans in between the tree rows. You can see my tree tubes and stuff. This was about a week ago, and ever since then, those beans over there have just disappeared. That big wide buck is 2x4, and there's another 10-pointer there that I found sheds to. Those 2 bucks right there are 3-year-olds, and I'll put up a few. I'll see how long this video's getting, but I got a lot of history with these bucks between last year and this year. I'm amazed how many bucks actually made it through. Last year we had a lot of 2-year-olds and 3-year-olds. Now, last year we had a lot of 2-year-olds. Now we got a lot of 3-year-olds. So it's really amazing that a lot of these bucks didn't get shot this year. And we even had quite a few more during the rut too that probably got shot. I had like basically at least 10 3-year-old or older bucks pictures of during the rut. And these are the bucks that just made it through and are sticking around close by during the winter here. So it's just so cool. I mean, you can just shine down there almost any time of the night and you'll see deer or a deer. And the bucks seem to be coming over a lot right around 8:30 to 9 o'clock. Because like I said, they're coming from probably almost a half a mile to get here. So I can see why that big one back there, that's that huge wide 8 that just showed up here in probably right around December or middle of December. I started getting pictures of him. I had a few pictures of him during the rut, but then like I said, he just showed up here in late season again. So right here's a pretty cool look at all the pictures of bucks I have in our backyard. The top left one, that split brow 10, the last picture I had of him was like January 1st, so he might have been shot in late season, but all the ones in the top row, I for sure have pictures of last year, and I think these are the correct ages, but I'm not 100% sure. And there is that other one that I don't have any good pictures of with the swoops, but man, it's just crazy all the bucks that are out there. One last thing before I'm done, I'm going to compare some of the bucks from last year to this year. So look at this buck right here. He's probably a 1.5-year-old here, and that would make him a 2.5-year-old, a really nice 2.5-year-old. If that's the same buck, that's unbelievable genetics. Just got a similar looking wide splayed out rack. I'm pretty sure it's him. And then this buck, I found this buck shed last year, and this is 100% the buck right here. He's a 3-year-old and kind of a small 3-year-old, really. Not the best genetics probably or something. And then this buck, he's probably a 2 or 3-year-old here. I'm not sure. And this is him this year. Either a 3 or a 4-year-old this year. I'm not sure his age, but decent buck. And then this is that 2x4 buck. He's probably a 2-year-old here, and that would make him a 3-year-old now. Just a really weird, abnormal buck. It'd be cool to find that one 2-point side. And then this buck, I'm not 100% sure. He's kind of got a similar looking rack to this buck. That's why I think it's probably this one this year. That'd be a 2-year-old now. So anyways, thanks for watching. I know it was a pretty long video, and if you're made it to the end, thanks for watching and sticking around, and I guess I'll catch you in the next video sometime soon.